Good morning, Adventureland! What have you guys been doing this week to keep busy? Let me show you something. My guys are outside right now, and I'll show you what we're doing. Hey guys, say hi! Hi! We've been outside drawing pictures on our sidewalk. Did you know we might not be able to go out and visit our friends right now, but we can do little things to spread a few smiles around to our neighbors. Did you know that if you just want to draw some pictures or write some encouraging notes on your sidewalk, then all of your neighbors and people walking or driving by might just get a smile out of what you've been doing? So I hope that gives you guys an idea of something you can do this week. And now in a moment, we'll go on to our story for this week. Hello everybody, it is story time. Today I've got a great story from you from God's big story, the Bible. But before we start, I need your help. Alright guys? If you'll notice, I'm at home. Welcome to my house. Just like most of you guys are at home right now too. Did you know that at the church we have this cool screen up on the wall and we can have pictures and sounds? They can play sounds, and I don't have any of that here, so I need help with the sound effects in this story. Can you guys do that for me? We're going to practice a little bit first. And I know you're at home and I can't hear you, but I know you guys will make some excellent sound effects for our story. Practice these with me. But there are two things I need you to remember first. One thing, very important, if you are inside the house like I am, don't forget to use your inside voice. Because if you yell, your mom and dad might not be very happy with me if I get you to yell. So don't get me in trouble with mom and dad. Second thing to remember, when I tell you to make a sound effect, eventually you have to stop. So if I go like this, that means stop the sound effect. This is important because if you don't stop, you won't be able to hear the story. And you will look really funny if you sit there staring at your screen making the same sound effect for the rest of the day. So don't do that. Don't forget to stop. All right, let's practice a few sounds. I need you guys to do these with me. Let's see, the first one we'll do. Let's practice the sound of snoring like this. Can you guys do this? Okay, ready? Go! You guys try with me. Okay, good. You guys did a good job. Listen very closely to the story. If I say that someone is sleeping, I need you to make the snoring sound. The next one we'll try will be, eating. Eating. Let's make the sounds of eating, kind of like this. Nom, 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 nom. Do it with me, guys. Nom, 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 nom. And stop. Very good. All right, listen, when I say in the story that someone is eating, I need you to make that sound. Our next one is going to be, how about some crowd sounds? When the crowd is happy, they will cheer. We're going to cheer like this. Yay! Hooray! Hurrah! Woo! And stop. Good job, you guys. I know you'll do a good job at that one. So listen to the story. When I say someone is cheering, I need you to make that sound. Next one is going to be what would happen if the crowd is shocked and surprised. They might gasp like this. You guys try it with me. Ready? Okay. Whew, that was a lot of shock. You guys did great. Listen, when I say the crowd gasped, I need you to make that sound for me. Let's see, the next one we'll do is a quiet sound. We won't even use our voice for the next few sound effects. This is going to be the sound of gently rustling leaves in the wind. Try with me. Go like this. It makes a gentle sound like leaves rustling in the wind. Try it with me. Good. Okay. The last one we're going to practice here is the sound of someone running away. And we're going to make this sound with our feet. So I need you guys to run in place. Try it with me so we can hear the footsteps. Run! And stop. Good job, guys. So listen closely. When you hear me talk about rustling leaves, you know which sound to make. And if you hear me say, run away, you guys know what to do, right? Okay, so now we will begin our story from the Bible. Now, in our stories about Jesus, you might have noticed that there were some people that didn't like Jesus. In fact, the religious leaders of that time really didn't much care for Jesus. They didn't like him or what he was teaching people, and they spent a lot of their time trying to find ways to silence him. Hold on. They were trying to silence him, but it didn't work. You see, Jesus was still teaching people, and they were listening, and a lot of people were listening, and he was getting kind of popular. And in fact, the Sunday before Passover, Jesus rode into town, and the people were so excited to see him, they began to cheer! Yay! Hooray! Woohoo! Yippee! That didn't make the religious leaders very happy. In fact, they were probably pretty grumpy about it. But then things changed. You see, one of Jesus' disciples was named Judas. Judas went to the religious leaders with his own plan, and he agreed to turn Jesus into them to be arrested in exchange for 30 pieces of silver. Now, Jesus is the Son of God, right? He knows everything. Jesus knew what his friend Judas was doing. He knew what was going to happen. So, sometime later, when the Passover feast time came, Jesus and his friends got together to eat a special meal. And after they had gotten together to eat this meal, Jesus took them out of town. He knew what was going to happen. See, at this point, Judas had already slipped away to complete his plan. But Jesus took the rest of his friends, and he wanted to prepare them for what was going to happen. And we're going to read right from the Bible here about what Jesus told his friends. This is in the book of John. Jesus said, "In a little while, you will no longer see me. Then after a little while, you will see me. I came from the Father, and I entered the world. Now I'm leaving the world and going back to my Father." See, he continued to explain to the disciples the things that were going to happen over the next few days. He told them that they were all going to leave him. He told them that, in fact, when these things happened, they were going to deny that they even knew him. Now, one of Jesus' friends was named Peter, and Peter said, "Whoa, hold on there. There is no way that I would deny knowing you, Jesus." And Jesus said, "Oh, my friend Peter, before the rooster crows," in other words, before the morning got there, that he would deny knowing Jesus 3 times. Of course, he continued to say, "No way, Jesus." And all the other disciples said, "No way we would do that." But after that, Jesus took them to a place called the Garden of Gethsemane. And he asked the disciples to wait for him. But he took 3 of his friends, Peter, James, and John, a little farther with him. And you see, he was sad. He knew what he had to do, but it wasn't easy. So, he told his friends a little more about how he was feeling. He said to them, "My soul is very sad. I feel close to death. Stay here and keep watch with me." So he asked his 3 friends to stay there and pray and wait for him, while he went a little farther into the garden where it's nice and quiet, and you could probably hear nothing but the sound of the leaves rustling in the wind in the garden. Very good. And while he was there, he prayed. He prayed to God. And we know what he said. That's also right here in the Bible. Jesus prayed to God, his Father. And he said, "My Father, if it is possible, Take this cup of suffering away from me, but let what you want be done, not what I want." And he went back out to find his friends. And guess what? When he found his 3 friends, they weren't praying. They had fallen asleep. Very good, guys. They were asleep. Now, he wasn't real happy. He had some words to say to his friends. He said to them, "Couldn't you men keep watch with me for 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Jesus went back by himself to pray some more. And again, he prayed, "My Father, is it possible for this cup to be taken away? But if I must drink it, may what you want be done." And he went back out to see his friends one more time. They were still sleeping. Very good, guys. So he turned around and went back to pray by himself one more time. And again, he asked God, please, if he could let this all happen some other way, if there is some way that Jesus could fulfill God's plan in a different way, then please let that happen. But he trusted God and said, "God, I trust you, and I know that your plan is good, so let your plan happen, not mine." And he went out to his friends a final time. And you guessed it, they were still asleep. Oh, yikes. And he woke them up. And he said, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to the sinners. Get up. Let us go. Here comes the one who will be handing me over to them." And there he was. There was Judas, but he wasn't alone. Judas had a crowd with him. There were men carrying swords and clubs, and they were approaching Jesus and his friends. Part of Judas's plan was to show this crowd which one of these men was Jesus, so they'd know who to arrest. You see, this crowd had been sent by the religious leaders to go arrest him. And Judas walked up to Jesus and greeted him with a kiss on his cheek. Jesus looked at him and said, "My friend, do what you have come to do." So the men went to grab Jesus to arrest him. But Peter wasn't going to let this happen. Peter drew a sword, and he used the sword and attacked one of the men that were trying to arrest Jesus, and he cut off his ear. And the crowd was shocked, and they gasped. But Jesus stopped him. He stopped Peter. And he said, "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him. "All who use the sword will die by the sword. Do you think that I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 70,000 angels right away. But then, how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen this way." So Jesus put his hand on the ear of the man who had his ear chopped off, and he healed it. And I bet you at that time the crowd was probably shocked, and they probably gasped again. But then Jesus allowed himself to be led away by the men who were arresting him. He told them, "Am I leading a band of armed men against you? Do you have to come out with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sit in the temple courtyard teaching, and you didn't arrest me." But all this has happened so the words of the prophets would come true. Then all the disciples left him, and they ran away. Run with me, guys. They all ran away. That's right. His friends all ran off, just like he told them. Oh, but Jesus knew what he had to do. He knew that he had to follow God's plan. You see, at this time, Judas probably thought everything was going according to his plan, but it wasn't. It was all according to God's plan. This had been part of God's plan since the very, very beginning. Back when Adam and Eve really messed up in the Garden of Eden, God had this plan that he would send Jesus for us, to forgive us for our sins and to heal our relationship with God. You see, Jesus put others first. We can follow his example. But you know, that's our bottom line for today. Put others first. Can you guys say that with me? Ready, guys? Will you say it with me? Put others first. Good job. Thank you so much, guys. You did a great job helping me out with the sound effects. So, what does this look like? What does putting others first look like? Well, first of all, sometimes it's not easy. You know, Jesus even had to ask God for help. Even Jesus himself had to go to God and say, help me. How can I do this for everyone else when it's not really what I want to do? So we may have to pray to God and ask him to help us remember to put others first, to treat others the way we want to be treated. That's a thing we say around here a lot, isn't it? So what does it look like for us? How can we put others first? Did you know it can be something very simple? Something like maybe playing a game that you don't really like that much because it's your friend's favorite game. Maybe you could agree to happily go to a restaurant with your family that's really not your favorite restaurant because your sister loves that place. Maybe you could even help mom and dad out when what you really want to do is go sit and play video games. You can put others first. And when that seems hard, you can ask God to help you, just like Jesus did, to help us treat others the way we want to be treated. In fact, we have a Bible verse for this month that talks about that very same thing. This is in the Bible, in the book of Philippians. It's chapter 2, verse 3. It says, do not do anything only to get ahead. Don't do it because you are proud. Instead, be humble. Value others more than yourselves. Value others more than yourselves, which is the same thing as saying, put others first. That is a wonderful way to show people that you value them and that you love them and to share God's love with them. And we can all follow Jesus' example and do this. Guys, you helped me out today so much. I'm glad you were here to give me my fancy sound effects because I was really missing having all the fancy sound effects and the lights from the church. But you know what? Even if we're not there in the building, we are still the church. We are still God's family, and we can still work together to show his love to everyone around us. So will you guys pray with me today now that we've finished our story? We'll close our eyes and bow our heads. Ready? Dear God, thank you so very, very much for letting us be able to tell this story, for giving us this wonderful story so that we can see how you put others first, how you had a plan for us to show us that you love us and to forgive us. Thank you for showing us an example of how to put others first. Help us remember, even when it seems hard, to put other people first and to help make people around us happy and show them joy. Please bless all the children who are watching this story and all the people in the world now who are going through a lot of very different things. Please bless us all, Father, and we thank you for being with us. And in Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, everybody. I'm so glad you joined us for our story today. Bye! Hey guys, I've got one more thing to add to our video this week. Did you know that right now a lot of people are staying at home and they can't go out and do much, and some people are feeling awful lonely? Do you know some of the people who might feel really lonely are the grandmas and grandpas who are living in nursing homes because their families aren't allowed to come and visit them right now. Do you know you can help give them a smile and make them feel better? You can write a letter. You can draw a picture. Send it to the folks who are living in those nursing homes and could use a smile. You can say, hi, my name is, tell them what kind of things you like to do, tell them Jesus loves them, write something encouraging, anything that might help bring a smile to their face and let them know they're not alone and they're not forgotten. That would be a wonderful way to put others first and treat others the way we want to be treated. If you want to do this, you can bring your letters, have mom and dad drop them off at the Troy or Piqua campus of the Valley Church. We'll have a bin out front where you can just drop them in. Or if you can't go out, you can stick them in the mailbox and mail them to the church. Or if you don't live around here and want to send it to your local nursing home, just use Google. Look up your closest nursing home, put it in the mail, and send it there, and ask if the staff will pass that letter on to somebody in your local nursing home that could use a smile today. That would be a wonderful way to show God's love to other people. All right, guys, I hope you join us and have a wonderful week. Bye.